Threw my boss out the window and got fired from my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Feed my brother-in-law half the day.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you this morning?
Good. You weren't sure that voice was going to be there,
It was
were
a
you?
little verklempt this morning. I'm not sure what happened there.
It's like you've been smoking helium.
A little bit of that and
Like to-
gargling sawdust or something.
Welcome you to the South Texas
Yeah,
TV
please do
studios.
so while
You're a little verklempt
hack
over
up
there,
a lung over here.
right?
So yeah, welcome
Welcome.
welcome to you at the South Texas TV studio.
Right. Magic 95.9 FM, Facebook. Welcome all the regulars. So Little Brown Taco is the first guy in.
Tower of Power here on low rent.
Low rent. We're here.
5th floor, Victoria Tower.
You're welcome to come anytime. Just come stick
Live
your head
studio
in.
audience is more than welcome to show up.
They are
We
there.
acknowledge them. We acknowledge you. Good morning, Roy Gutierrez. Thank God it's Friday. Absolutely. It's been a long week, and maybe that's because next week's going to be a short week.
Yes.
So this week's always, the week before is always a long one. Will Vincent, Laura Jecker, Patricia Nagel, good morning. Scott Tomko, Matt Boucher, Scott Snow, Bobby Leister, Diane Tippett, Mark Kurtz,
Those of you that
Jarrett McCrugan, Kendra Douglas, Justin Glass. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being up and Adam early this morning joining us. We really appreciate all that you do every morning to be part of what we do every
pull
morning.
us through. Those of you that are part of the great American workforce, this weekend is all about you. We hope you have a great Labor Day on Monday, national holiday, one of the good ones. Not nothing to really commemorate except
No, just
I think that over this weekend you should give thanks and pause for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for creating 13.5 million jobs.
yep, your labor
Your
gives them the
labor-
tax dollars that they need to keep spending money recklessly.
Right. We can't get the internet. We can put man on the moon again. We can put
We haven't
people on
yet.
Mars.
We didn't win the race the second time around.
Well, we're going to put people on Mars, but we can't get the internet.
Let's go to the weather and let's go through that little scenario here. Weather today brought to you by, as it always is, by the fine folks at AT Deerlam Hay Feed and Ranch Services. Stop on by if you need anything for your home, your garden, your farm, your ranch, your pets, animals.
By the way, Dawn's
Okay.
going by later today and picking up the 21-7-14 blend because Monday.
Did you throw your back out and can't lift that bag anymore?
I've got her well trained. Monday is a great day to throw down a round of fertilizer as we go into fall.
Or just throw down.
Just throw down. Yeah. It's hard to push that little green thing and not spill your cocktail.
You haven't built a little
You
holder
need the
for it
helmet.
yet?
The helmet with the two holders.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Do you have to refill the two holders when you're pushing the little green
Yeah.
spreader, or is it a
It doesn't take
two-holder?
very
Is it a
long.
two-drink job?
That's a two-drink
Okay.
job. Roy Gutierrez says, I'm having a great Labor Day. I'm working.
Yeah.
But now I know Roy. Roy's glad to be working, so that's great stuff.
So what they're going to do today? It was again nice this morning out of the 2-4. It was about
72
69 degrees.
There's the spouse of Wendy Hughes Garcia right there.
She's going to join us next week, Tuesday.
Can't
In fact,
wait.
she's going to come on by the show.
Very exciting. Why is she coming?
She's working with Texas A&M, and they've got some diabetes programming and stuff that she wants to share with the region.
Awesome.
Very timely, given the rates of diabetes in this region. So,
There you go.
yeah. How high were you going to break 100 today?
No, 99. 72 to 99.
Not buying it. We're going over 100. Just saying.
The Diabetic Minute brought to you by Veracruz. Get in today, have a flour tortilla.
We got Buddy Stavanoa going to the Astros-Yankees game on Saturday, sitting right behind home plate.
Bragger.
Make a Wade and Carter sign, buddy.
Yeah, why don't you make a Wade Carter sign? Hold it up.
Hold it up. Dottie Bitterly, good morning. Junior Samples checking in from, we're huge in St. Louis this morning. Greg Garcia, Jordan Glass, Bobcat Watley. Good morning, Bobcat.
You know,
Plane must have got off on time.
wanted to invite
Tammy
Junior to
Keeling,
give us a call, but
Lisa Poole, Monica Jost, Keith Williams.
he already called in on Posey's show. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
I don't like playing
the
second fiddle.
deal.
No.
Yeah. Hi, Tammy Keeling.
You either call us or
I don't think Tammy's mad at us about anything.
No.
Maybe we're not edgy enough.
Roy Gutierrez is a 67 out near Floresville. What you doing out near Floresville, Roy?
But, seeing Tammy Keenan
trying to
there,
find Mustangs.
years of service on the school board, what do you make of this deal where California is doing what they're doing? Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, let's talk about that because
Let's do.
California, I think right now they've sued 3 school districts because they have violated, I think it's a law that California passed where school districts cannot notify parents if their kids are transitioning.
Yeah, so little Billy leaves in the morning with a ball cap, but as soon as he gets to school, he puts in his earrings and he, tousles his hair. And it used to, a teacher would just call and go, hey, Ms. Wagenchow, Ash is being a little bit of a distraction at school. Yeah. Well, now they can't do that.
But here's and it's based on fear. Oh, your parents aren't going to love you anymore if you do this, right? It's all based on BS and fear. But California's they've been planning that California's going to fall off into the ocean as soon as the big earthquake comes, right?
Be a better country.
Probably would be, but you see how they do that though? They plant that fear of something that statistically will probably never happen. And it's the same thing here. Oh, your parents are going to hate you if you tell them this. You can't tell them this, but we'll keep your secret for you because we're the school district.
We're the government.
We know. We're the government education. We know what's best for you.
Good morning, Judge Posey.
Although a court out there found in favor of a mom who sued a school district, they settled for $100,000. But here's what a parent needs to do. Call the school district's bluff out there, or call the state's bluff. Really, you think you know what's best? Here, I'm signing over my parental rights to you, XYZ school district. You raise my kid. You think you can raise my kid better than me? You think you know what they should and shouldn't do and what you should and shouldn't tell me? Here's my kid. Have him. It's all yours now.
You can see how the evolution happened, though, that it used to be the schools worked in concert with, partnership with the parents.
Absolutely.
And then, but in all fairness, parents were normal. And now you got these bizarre, drug-ridden, crackhead parents, and the schools feel the need to kind of protect the kids from the crazy parents. But and then again, the next thing you know, they know what's best for everybody, and there really aren't any parents needed.
Well, but again, those crazy parents are few and far between. Let's be honest.
Maybe not in California.
Maybe not in California. You're right.
True story. Here in Texas.
But the fact that the parents don't have a say and they want to keep a secret like that from the parents?
Yeah.
What's next? Well, the kid at 13 has the right to make their own choice whether they want to transition into something that they're not.
Or have sex with their teacher.
Yeah, hey, shh.
It's okay.
You go ahead and make that decision. You're 13. You're old enough to decide whether or not you want to have sex with a 33-year-old teacher. And we'll just keep that secret for you.
Right.
We won't tell anybody.
That's nobody's business. You're trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah, you want to be sexually liberated. So shh. We're not going to tell anybody.
I'm going to have to go to grad school in California.
Where's it stop? Where does it stop?
It'd be at college.
Grad school, that's probably allowed at grad school in California.
Yeah.
Probably write your paper, your thesis, your dissertation on it.
The old guy's kind of creepy, but he buys all the drinks.
You see so-and-so's dissertation presentation? They had to defend their dissertation. They did it on a stripper pole.
Right? What is Justice Witowski saying?
Districts have scale, so they do as they do based on the idea that there will be no pushback. Years past, family values still happen. The dinner table, today's world, not so much. There is no dinner table today.
That's true. We're guilty of that sometimes, too. I mean, we're going so many different ways, so much frantic activity. Good morning, Brent Anderson. I would never do this because you and I don't talk much about high school sports, but I will tell you about my child. I will share with you my family.
Okay.
Caden went off again last night. I'm not exaggerating. He had one run where he befuddled Shiner.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, I'm conservatively. He had one run that was almost 60 yards.
Nice.
I'm not exaggerating. He had 180 yards plus and scored 3 touchdowns.
Nice.
No kidding.
Esports?
Huh?
Esports.
No.
Playing
no.
Madden.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No kidding, man. I mean, playing football.
Good for
JV, but he's a sophomore. Really, really good.
Good for him.
Yeah. Cooper Francis scored a touchdown, played quarterback. They're good. I mean, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
He's so quiet and unassuming when you talk to him.
Very, very aggressive with the football, which is something, he told
It's kind of what you want, though, right?
one of the coaches, he said, last year I sat on the bench all year, and the coach goes, no, really, where did you play? He goes, no, really, sat on the bench all year. Coach is like, well, you've come a long way.
That's why he's
And
got
Don
pent-up
says-
aggression.
He worked hard. Yeah, he's 15. Like, if you,
A lot of pent-up,
there's
all sorts of pent-up
There's
stuff.
no conditioner on the sideline, so you might as well run. Don Nicole says, hey, he worked hard all summer to get ready. And I'm proud of the effort more than the results, whether he has a good game or not, I don't care. I'm proud of the effort.
Works hard. It's good.
He worked hard to get it right. He's got the confidence because he put in the work,
Yep, there you
It's
go.
kind of like we could do the same thing with the radio program.
We could.
Nah. I've already lettered. I've
David
already got,
Glass,
already got
Amanda
my
Smith
letter
King,
jacket.
Mark Kurtz.
He gets the tough love. I'm like, Caden, if you keep laying around playing video, you're going to get, you'll be a 2-year sweaterman on JV. You'll get like a vest. You get a vest. You don't get a letter jacket.
Carpal tunnel is going to happen, and you're not going to be able to grip that football properly.
No kidding. Give it a rest. Bless his heart.
That's good to hear. I'm glad he's playing well.
He really is doing good.
Iceman says starts with the parenting. Well done, Carter's. Not always, Iceman. Sometimes
Don
there's,
does a great
sometimes there's a
job.
fluke.
You can ask, so I'm like, I'm biased, obviously. It's my kid. But
He's doing well in spite of his parenting.
Sheriff Louderback was there, and I had to trade sides with him because AJ would go, look. I'm like, okay. I'm bruised up. He's hitting you. It's like a karate chop.
Can you hit the other arm?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I'll be all right. Arm hangs.
Right. Separated shoulder. I can't figure out, was that game last night, was that a real game, Seattle versus Green Bay? Somebody tell me if that was NFL football. I don't know.
I think preseason if it was, though, right? Because they haven't started the season yet.
I don't know.
Season starts next week.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't start this Sunday.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still pre-week. Maybe so.
Huh.
Let's look. Here, I'm scrolling down.
No.
Nope, nothing. Must have been an old game.
Must have been a
somewhere.
replay.
Yeah, from something. Seahawks, Packers, last week.
There's a place over there. We went to Shiner.
I hate that they don't put replay on anything, or it makes you think
Yeah.
that it's actually legit.
re-air.
Yeah.
The Astros do a nice job of that.
I did watch number 14 Utah just basically dominate Florida. Florida does not look like the Florida of Urban Meyer or Florida of Steve Spurrier. This is the Florida that is bottom of the SEC, and I don't see them looking to be much better than that. They lost 24-11, and the score flatters Florida, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. Utah just completely dominated them.
So, do you want to go through? I mean, you made the point that it's all laid out by the conference and all that, and years
Not
ago,
all of it is,
the
but
conference
the
has been
conference,
around. The game's been laid out for 5 years, but bring up Georgia's schedule. Now, here's Georgia, the number 1 ranked team in the nation, and their schedule, folks, is a joke. I mean, it's the easiest schedule on the planet. Listen to this. Stop me when I give you a tough one. They play UT Martin.
Yep.
That's like directional Tennessee.
Okay.
Then they play Ball State, which
Okay.
is a FCS school.
Okay. Let me go and look and see what did they do last year.
South Carolina is next after that, the South Carolina Gamecocks.
I'm looking to see because I thought South Carolina was fairly good last year.
Well, let's just go look.
That's what I'm trying to do.
They did play in a bowl game.
They went 8. They had an 8-win season last year. That's not bad for
Okay,
South
well,
Carolina.
let's see who they beat.
Okay. Let's go back.
Let's go
see who
back.
They beat last year.
They played Georgia. They beat Georgia State. They lost to Arkansas. They lost to Georgia badly. They beat Charlotte, which is a NASCAR school. They beat South Carolina State. They beat Kentucky. That was a nice game. They beat the Aggies. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Tennessee, and they beat Clemson.
Yeah, they came on at the end of the year.
Okay.
And then lost to Notre Dame in a bowl game. They were 8-5 overall.
Go Cox.
4-4.
All right, so we'll give Georgia a plus. So Georgia plays.
Tennessee Martin,
You're killing me.
Ball State, South Carolina,
Alabama, Birmingham. They have an SEC game. If you've got to have one, Auburn, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss. It doesn't get much better than that. No Alabama, no, Then you've got Tennessee, and then you play Georgia Tech, the Rambling Wreck.
Well, but
Georgia
again, the
Tech.
conference schedule dictated by the conference, and they
Right.
don't play, and they have to play everybody on their side of the divisions
Right.
in the SEC, which is the East.
But you
which
gotta
the East
admit-
is made up of Georgia and everybody else.
But historically and of late, Auburn, Kentucky, Vandy, Florida, Missouri suck. And then you got Ole Miss.
Ole Miss at 22, I think, is overrated to start
Yeah,
the season.
that's the Kiffin effect. Lane Kiffin's still got a little draw.
But isn't any Christina Weiss says, I never thought I would hear Go Cox on this show.
Right? You have to.
But is it any different, though, than talk about the preseason or the early season, UT Martin, Ball State, more famous for being the school of David Letterman than anything else.
Right.
And even that's waning because that was 20 years ago.
Is he alive?
Yeah, he's an old father of a younger kid, I think.
What are
but-
you saying? What's your point?
That's my point.
Is it a bad thing?
He's can't die yet. He's got a kid to raise. That's what I'm saying. There's Joe Gomez checking in. But is it any different? Because those early season games, and Georgia pays Ball State and Tennessee Martin big
Sure.
money, right, to play those games. At Georgia, they're playing them at home.
Right.
They play Alabama, Birmingham at home.
Alabama.
Birmingham at home. 5 of the first 6 are at home.
Yeah. And they play at Auburn.
At
That ought to
Van-
be
yeah.
fun.
But, the UT Martin Ball State, that's like the Cowboys not playing any of their starters in the preseason.
Yeah, and that's like Rice, and I get it. I'm just saying, in your mind, you're going, the Georgia Bulldogs playing a wretched SEC schedule.
Yeah.
60 minutes of hell. Not really.
And does it really, and it doesn't make much.
Which one of those games is a potential upset? Maybe Tennessee in the next to last game of the season? You think Missouri's going to sneak up and take one from Georgia?
No.
Okay, I'm just saying, which one of those games?
South Carolina.
There you go. Go Cox.
3 weeks from now. Potentially.
And you know what? Even if South Carolina beats them and they run out, they'll still be
in the
national
playoffs.
champs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll still be in the playoffs. But that's the thing. We've gotten back to the point where everybody used to play when you were, weak teams to start, relatively weak teams. Let's be honest, the 85 scholarships for everybody now is kind of even things out. There's no Prop 8 kids going to Nebraska. But we're back to the point where we were in this college football playoff and strength of schedule matters a little bit, but they want to get the best teams at that point of the season into the playoff. So as long as you're playing your best football and you don't have 2 losses at the end of the season, you're going to be at least in the discussion and probably in the mix if you're Georgia. So tune up, SEC games, and then you've got a Georgia Tech game at the end of the year to, just make sure everything's buttoned up and you don't have any issues, and then they're in the playoffs. But
Is this just clickbait? You see, you're right here on ESPN.
yeah,
You're on the Georgia page.
yeah.
Is Texas back? Can Georgia three-peat? Is that just
Why wouldn't Georgia's won 2 straight national championships, and I agree with you.
Well, I mentioned
Should
Texas.
well, and it's a prediction thing and stuff. But why wouldn't can Georgia three-peat be the top story
Instead of
over
is
is
Texas
Texas back?
back?
Because they're looking to three-peat as national champs. That to me is bigger than is Texas
It's
back.
probably because we have 500,000 living alum. You know, it's
And maybe with AI, maybe that if you're in Georgia, they flip those two. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't look quite like that, right?
I don't know. Why don't
Who
you
knows?
click on that? Let's see if Texas.
I don't
is
think I
back.
can because I got ESPN Plus.
Is Texas
Got to be a
back?
subscription.
I don't know.
Got to subscribe.
Are they back?
Oh,
What does it say?
I don't want to have to sign in. I don't remember my login, to be honest.
Your Kenny login?
Yeah, I don't remember it.
Footloose.
Breaking news out of college football, though. The ACC apparently has voted the Atlantic Coast Conference, and then we'll get to a
Basketball conference. First thing I think was basketball.
has voted to invite in. Which schools would you think? If you haven't seen the headline, I'm just seeing
UCLA.
breaking it now.
Somebody from the West Coast. Arizona State.
No,
Who'd
they're
they-
already moving on.
Who'd they invite?
Stanford, Cal. Makes perfect sense. Let's go from Berkeley to Chapel Hill.
Right. They're after the academics.
Let's go from Palo Alto.
They're after the wokeness and the.
They're after the academics, but they have Florida State as a member. And the other school they've invited in, SMU.
They're after academics and money. Stanford's got both.
Well, they're after TV markets, because the only way the ACC can compete and stay relevant as the college football landscape shifts. You go get Berkeley and Stanford, you've got California TV market. You get SMU, you've got Dallas.
Does it behoove college basketball?
Matt
the
Boucher says
machine-
Texas overrated every preseason.
Yes, sir.
I agree, and we've discussed
We
that
have
on this
discussed,
show.
and I do agree. Do you think that it behooves college basketball? I saw juniors drivel. Does it behoove college basketball to create their own basketball cognizant super conferences? Does it make sense?
I don't
for
think
a-
they can, because they haven't been given the power that college football was given back in the 80s
Well, they just take
when
it.
Congress told the college football they could kind of do their own thing. That's how this all started.
See, basketball, baseball, they still need to be regional sports. You can't. You're going to see, and everybody, most of you are going to go, nah, Carter's lost his mind. I'm going to tell you something. When you start allowing the transvestite factor, when you start allowing men to swim against women, you undermine not men's sports, because men's sports are still men's sports. And the tranny dude is swimming with the chicks. That's the way everybody looks at it.
It
that
hasn't
way.
gone the other way.
No, it hasn't.
There are no women transitioning to
No.
men competing with the men. Anyway,
No. And so here's the deal. At some point, universities are going to say, well, heck, we don't make any money off swimming anyway. We'll just fold it down. Or we're not going to have a men's and women's swimming program. We'll hold an open tryout, because they're all swimming against each other anyway. It's open swim. So we'll just have a tryout. Schools like Texas that dominate swimming nationally year after year, if they have an open tryout and anybody can swim against anybody, there's no women swimmers. All the dudes will come here. Women's sports, as you know it, will go away because of the assault on basically Title IX.
yeah, it is.
And then you're going to see that more and more universities are going to say, well, we're D1 in football, but we can't any longer afford to send our volleyball, basketball, and baseball teams to the West Coast every other weekend. Oh, we're going to have to play Oregon this week. Then we're going to have to play UCLA.
From New Jersey.
Come on.
How does
that's
that
not-
make sense, right?
Not when the programs are in the red already. There's not 24 D1 programs that are in the black every year. They're all subsidized by their universities. And now they're going to go, hey, guess what? Our juggernaut of a water polo team needs to play in New York next Tuesday.
Well, and that's the other thing that they're playing at Madison Square Garden in water polo. Not going to happen. But
Right?
ESPN is having to cut longtime employees to try to make these numbers work because there's no other player in the college football TV landscape. Fox Sports isn't at the level where ESPN is overpromised.
Yep. They're in
And
trouble. ESPN's in trouble.
they're in a lot of trouble.
Financial
And-
duress.
And I don't know how they're going to be able to keep making payments and the promises of $1 billion to the Big Ten
So
conference
here's what's going to happen.
over so many years.
The next TV contract, the next time it comes up, you're going to see for the first time in your lifetime at least a decrease in the amount of increase. You know, it usually goes from 1 billion to 5 billion to 10 billion to now 11.5 billion. It's not going to go to 20 billion.
And I'm not sure it'll keep going the way they think it's
I
going to
think it
go.
may
I'm not
come
sure.
back down.
I don't know when.
So travel expenses
by the-
go up,
Yeah.
revenue goes down, sports go away.
And travel expenses are already going up for a lot of these schools in their regional travel. Football aside, who pretty much flies everywhere, and some of the basketball teams do as well for conference games now. But when you used to be able to, when Texas used to be able to bus
Amen. They bust.
Somewhere.
When I was in school, they bust luxury buses, motor coaches. They bust to Dallas for the Texas OU game.
yeah.
A caravan of high dollar buses, police escorts, all that stuff. But you could go, if you look at it from a bird's eye view, SMU, TCU, Baylor, Texas, Houston, A&M, they're all a couple of hours apart.
Yeah, you would spend more time trying to get on a plane at an airport than it would take you to bus from,
Oh, yeah. Especially with
Austin
150 people.
to Waco but
I mean, UT's football team and staff would more than fill up a 737.
yeah,
It just
no,
would.
absolutely.
So-
But I don't see it being sustainable.
No.
And the only way it's sustainable is you create basically NFL light, and you have 40 to 48 college football teams that compete at that level, and it'll be driven by the TV dollars at that point. But it will be the death toll and knell for every other football program, because what's going to be lost is the fact that people used to watch, and nobody really wants to watch Georgia and Ball State, let's be honest. But people would tune in to watch Missouri take on Georgia,
Oh, yeah.
because there might, there might,
They're
stuff
going
like
to have
that.
to do
But
something. Can you imagine being
But they can't. The rest of the sports are going to suffer at the D1 level, and I think you're going to start seeing some programs that just aren't going to be able to keep up with the Joneses at that level anymore,
right.
and they're either going to fall into the FCS, which used to be Division I AA, or back to Division II even.
But can you imagine, I was kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of rhetorical, can you imagine being the AD and all of a sudden you get the notice, congratulations, you're going to the Pac-12. But we
You mean the
live in
Pac-4?
South Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get to play Stanford and UCLA and USC, where it's going to be great. And you're like, awesome in football, but what about in cross country? What about track meets in Los Angeles? What about all of that is an AD's nightmare for programs that aren't called Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, A&M.
And I can't remember which AD it was, or maybe former Division I football coach. I was reading an article, and this was a solution he had a few years ago, when he saw this on the horizon, and many of us have. I've been kind of actively following this for about 10 years and could see this coming. I didn't think it would be as quickly as it sort of imploded on itself this summer. But it was heading this way with the expansion of the college football playoffs is when I thought you'd start seeing this happen, not now. But he suggested then, and again, I can't remember it, but this is not my idea. Why not create football-only conferences and leave the other sports in their Pac-12s and in their Big 12s
I agree 100%.
And in their Big 10s and in their WACs and their CUSAs and their American Athletic Conferences. These super conferences that are forming basically for football, and you hit the nail on the head, it is going to kill the Olympic sports
and
at these schools. You're going
works.
to see programs disappear because of the cost. And you know, football doesn't miss a lot of class time. Baseball, golf, gymnastics, swimming, softball, those programs miss class time. Football plays on Saturdays. They leave on Friday. Sometimes they don't leave until Saturday morning, depending on where they're traveling to. And then they're back by Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Oh, other schools are
Baseball's got to go
days.
play a 4-game series somewhere, a 3-game series, and they start on Thursday or Friday. They're leaving on Thursday,
hotel nights,
or Wednesday, and hotel
days.
nights. It's gonna, it will.
And you're going to be surprised. You're going to go like. One day you're going to hear that, for example, Duke has decided to just do away with lacrosse. Program has been strapped by cash issues, and the travel has become prohibitive, and Duke just doesn't play lacrosse anymore.
Well, let's. Can a program like Rice or Tulane, who've seen, you know, the surge of the green wave in football the last couple of years, can they even afford to play football in this changing landscape without $50 million coming to him from ESPN and the TV contracts?
And Ricky King pointed out a truism. The problem is, a problem for sure, is that ESPN has blocked all the local games. Everything is pay-per-view now. If you want to watch a game, you have to pay for it.
Well, I think they're betting on the fact that people will pay for it, and I think you're going to see a revolt by the average college football fan whose allegiance isn't to a top 25 school, but they tune in because they love it. It's already changed the game somewhat for me with all this. You know, like I said last week, there were games on that I didn't tune into, and normally first time there's a college football game on in the summer, I'm glued to the TV.
One reason that the regional concept, the regional conferences would work in the Olympic or minor sports, non-football sports, is because so many teams make the playoffs. You only play the season to get into the tournament. It doesn't really matter what conference, for example, Texas basketball is in, as long as at the end of the year they're 32-7 and they make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and their strength of schedule is enough.
There you go. Yeah. So you schedule who you can schedule. We want to play U of H. Beating Rice doesn't help us. We'll pick up a game with some of these SEC schools, and we'll play the West Coast in the Maui tournament. And we're 28-7, and now we go to the NCAA tournament. And there's where the money is.
But the conferences helped in the scheduling.
Sure.
They at some point they were like-minded schools in a conference.
Yeah, there was a
some of those basketball conferences are basketball only. There's no football playing schools in them. You think of some of those basketball conferences in the Northeast, the Atlantic 10 maybe comes to mind. All private schools, mostly of Catholic faith, and they don't play football.
Right. So, I think there was a certain regionalism that mattered, much like if I say to you, Texas is different than California, you don't argue, you agree with that.
Well,
Texas
and it even plays out in football, right? Texas will travel to Texas Tech. Fans will travel to go watch that game, and vice versa. Tech fans would come to Austin.
Yeah. We're not going to Oregon.
No, they're not. Some will. The ones with lots and lots of money. The students aren't making that trip.
No.
Unless they hold car washes and bake sales at their frats and sororities.
White Trash Services wants you to know that all their routes will be running as usual on Monday. Get your cans out early. It's still hot. They're leaving early in the morning. White Trash Services for all your rubbish needs. They'll come and swab the Lido deck and take all the garbage off their boat.
They'll get it ready for your yacht party.
Chopping block this weekend. Get the gourmet burgers. They're worth it.
$7 a piece. They can't.
They're
that's
worth
that
it.
is worth it.
I mean, if you're thinking, well, Saturday I'll just pick up a sack of Shags. I'll go to Whataburger and grab. They're $8 a throw. Go by the chopping block and grab a Wagyu beef patty.
Yeah.
$13.99 for ribeyes too a pound. They'll cut them any way you want. Get by and get that. Chopping block, fantastic meat, fresh.
Fridays is usually their beef rib day, so they're going to
Dino
probably
ribs.
have either the dino ribs or the short ribs, and Sean Neely will cook them up just right.
He's amazing.
I had their
It's a
pork
gift.
ribs last week. They were so good.
They are good, and they're tender. It's just great stuff. USA Concrete Coating 578 Home. Charlie Garcia can seal your concrete. He can put down a new pool deck. He can put a coat on a driveway. Just really sharpen up the edges of your product. Get by and let let them come by and give you a quote. They'll do it anytime you call them.
They'll make all your concrete needs and wants come true.
Went Services for all your generator needs, turnkey generator service, but also emergency electrical, emergency. I had them come out just 2 weeks ago. They came out and replaced a ballast we had replaced the lights and they didn't work. And Kate and I were both frustrated. I'm up there punching him in the hip. He's on the ladder. I'm giving him the business. Called Went. They came out and checked it.
That's why he doesn't get tackled. He's got
Right.
good balance. He didn't fall off that ladder.
The ballast was bad. And then Went Services just whipped it out, had it on the truck, switched it out for me. Great stuff. Call Went Services with all those opportunities. The Astros update brought to you by the great folks at First State Bank of Louise, the friendliest
Quick
bank
one
anywhere.
tonight, though, or today, because they didn't play last
They
week.
didn't play, but they didn't lose. Nobody played. None of the big three played: the Mariners, the Rangers, or Texas.
Kerry
Or
Bump just
Houston.
signed up with White Trash.
There you go. Way to go,
Thank
Kerry
you.
Bump.
Thank you to our listeners who support the businesses that support us.
There you go. BJ, just add that to that commission that we get. How about the Rangers? I don't know. Don't care. Rangers out. Astros play tonight at home against the Yankees. 3-game set, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Maybe Monday?
I don't know. Let's
Holiday
look.
Monday?
Saturday.
Yankees lost to Detroit in 3 yesterday, and 10 yesterday, 4-3.
Good. So they're tired. They had to travel. Maybe we can beat them.
Maybe.
Friday, we
Yeah,
play.
I'm trying to get there. It was only showing me Thursday through Sunday.
There you go. Monday.
No, we're at Texas starting Monday.
at
Afternoon game. Ooh.
And that's a big one. JP France on the mound against Andrew Haney. Hickey. Haney. Heaney.
Seattle at Cincinnati.
The Reds
Starting
have
Monday.
been
But
tough.
let's not get past this weekend though. We got
We're going to take it one game at a time. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to stick together. We're playing good ball right now. We're just going to keep pressing
chugging along.
forward,
We got the
chugging
Yankees,
along.
Texas home to Minnesota. That could be a tough one for the Rangers facing the AL Central.
Verlander on the mound
Dallas
today?
Keuchel on the mound for the Twins.
Is he
Yes,
really?
he is.
Congrats to Dallas K
Tomorrow.
for getting back to the league. I thought that guy was done.
He's 1-1.
How about, folks, that's a big deal. Dallas Keuchel, former Cy Young winner, and it just lets you know how the Astros have been well managed through the last couple
He's
of
not
years.
striking guys out. He's pitched 4 games,
Well,
made
he's
3
a
starts. He's got
smart
18 innings
pitcher.
pitched, and he's only got 6 strikeouts. That used to not be Dallas Keuchel's
No, he was a power pitcher.
modus operandi.
But he was Framber Valdez. He was bringing it in 2015, won the Cy Young.
Seattle's at the Mets. We got to make some ground up. We got to separate ourselves from the Mariners and the Rangers this weekend.
Yeah, this between now and next Tuesday, critical playoff level baseball.
Absolutely. Because we come into this weekend, day off yesterday, but we swept the Red Sox in Fenway for the first time ever, and we won 5 straight.
Awesome. Justin Verlander's really been a shot in the arm for the Astros.
I agree. I think he's been the difference maker.
Alex Bregman stepping up and saying, this is playoff baseball. Every game is a must-win. It's first time you've ever heard Alex Bregman publicly kind of challenge his mates,
Yeah.
like, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good for him. You
Right now,
forget-
3 AL West teams are in the playoffs. Seattle, who leads the division, and the Astros and the Rangers hold 2 of the 3 wild card spots.
Tell the truth, though, you forget that Jeremy Pena is only in his second season. He was a rookie last year.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? And I'm kind of excited for Carlos Correa and the Minnesota Twins making it. They lead their division as well. I'm kind of proud of them.
Yeah, because everyone was expecting them to be there last year, and they didn't quite have
What kind
the
of years
season they
Correa
thought.
having? Can you bring that up?
I can try to find out for you.
Like it when he's just a plethora of information.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a 5-game lead on Cleveland. They're not,
Oh, yeah.
they shouldn't blow it.
No. I think the Twins are for real. We're making roster moves. We're looking at things. Carlos Correa.
222 average,
Yeah.
16 home runs, 57 RBIs.
Well, the average is not good, but the
No.
production's not bad. He'll get to 20 homers and 70 RBIs. That's not so bad. That's not great, though.
Not
I'm
great.
222.
No.
Pena's a better player.
Especially hitting up there. They
Correa's-
they probably looking back, I'm going to say the right move
Oh,
was
no
letting
doubt.
Correa go.
No doubt. He was a little bit, he was kind of on the verge of, cancer's too strong a word, but he wasn't,
Galvanizing?
he wasn't the best clubhouse guy. The relationships, I remember having Marwin Gonzalez and being heartbroken when, this Diaz kid, he's okay. Then I fell in love with Aledmus Diaz, and his multiple skills could play so many positions. And now I look at Mauricio Dubon as even an upgrade over Diaz.
Yeah.
So we are very, very fortunate to have a guy that you can just put him in center. You can just put him wherever you want. Don Nicole says Seattle and Astros are tied for first. They are, baby.
They are, but Seattle, I think, has on winning percentage or games won or something.
Well,
like
there's
that.
a
They're
round.
technically in first.
It's a round robin of we hold the tiebreaker on Seattle. Seattle holds the tiebreaker on the Rangers, and the Rangers hold the tiebreaker on us, or something like that.
I think right now Seattle has one more win than we do, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I could be, but I don't think I am.
At that point, all I care about is do we make the playoffs? Experience matters. Leadership matters.
We've got one more win. They've got one less win,
Well,
but
we've got
they've
one
also
more loss.
we haven't played as many games. That's what the difference. That's
There
what it
you
is.
have
Or
it.
they haven't played as many games. How about the Iceman brings something up that I think is pretty cool. Have you seen the UH football unis for this weekend?
No. Oh, yeah. It looks like the Oilers.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah,
Nice
very nice
tribute.
look. Those should be their full-time
Right?
football unis.
Why does
It won't
it?
work in other sports because of that obvious connection to the Oilers, but those are some sharp-looking unis.
Why wouldn't the Tennessee Titans? Is it the Bud Adams estate? Why wouldn't they? They don't wear the Oiler throwback or nothing. They don't wear nothing about.
I think
the Oilers.
I think Tennessee has those. I think they kept that uniform combination. There is some talk that maybe the NFL stepped in and the Texans will be able to next year.
wear some Oilers stuff.
Yeah, or some of those colors.
Represent your city. There you go.
But these things are awesome looking.
Yeah, they are. They're that love you blue
Yeah.
with the red and white.
Yeah. Say Houston on.
Oh, that's hot looking.
yeah, aren't they? Aren't they?
Yeah,
awesome
they
looking?
are. And see if you can hold that up. It says Houston in script across the front. They're actually a pretty good ball club too. I think Houston's going to be good this
Yeah,
year.
that'd be all right. I think Big 12. If the show was a little more scripted, we would have had this available and put it
We
up
could have
on,
put it
on,
right
on
up
a
here on the
screen, but
deal.
we don't script.
We've
these
got the
things like that,
technology. We can make this show better than it was.
but we have the technology.
It could be the $6 million show.
We don't have the
Steve Kidder just rubbing it in.
Yeah.
Put them up on the screen.
we have the technology.
Go back to sleep, Steve.
We don't have the scripts.
Right?
You know, that's the beauty of this. We have a framework of things to talk about. But we don't always get to it all because the show just kind of directs itself every day. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Kidder's always there to point it out when
Yeah.
we're incompetent.
You know, and don't think we don't prep and prepare. We do, but the show can go off on its own ways.
I tell you who ad-libs it right every time, and that's Allen's Wrecker Service. Call 578-6300. Let Allen's come in to whatever your situation is, whatever curveball life throws you. Allen's Wrecker Service responds as a first responder. They show up, secure the area, make sure you're safe, don't add any damage to your vehicle, and get you where you need to be safely. The VCS companies, Dawn was driving yesterday, had a Jim Hartman sighting. Said she saw Mr. H driving down the road.
Nice.
Yep, super fine
I haven't
gentleman.
checked in with Jim lately.
We need to. We need to do that. Great family. The Hartman Communication Empire. Right there on Kerr Boulevard, just inside the loop off Main Street. Go by for all your communication needs. Chesnick Furniture, Chesnick and Love, make your house a home. For over 100 years in downtown Victoria, Chesnick Furniture has been there. Best recliners, Tempur-Pedic bedding, Stearns and Foster bedding, high-end stuff, and great values. Go by and see some of the great bargains they've got. They'll deliver it today. Go by and see them. Fantastic. Bobby Leon and his family. And then Veracruz. Today's Friday, the last day of the week.
Yep.
I ate there twice this week, and I feel better for it. Get by Veracruz today.
I'm not even convinced they're going to be open on Labor Day.
I don't know.
I think they'll be open because usually Monday to Friday, right? But
We won't be
wonder.
here
We won't be
on
here
Monday.
no. We'll sleep in Monday.
We're taking Monday off.
Palace Bingo, we were there this week. 3 of our listeners won again, keeping our 300. We're like Michael Brantley, we hit 300 every season.
That's right. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Palace Bingo. Get by.
We'll figure out which day of the week it will be this month. A little earlier than we did, but I think we can probably rule out for the fall that Thursdays are done.
Thursdays are no good because of football.
And because UHV Soccer, which opened up a season yesterday, UHV Soccer tied men's and women's 2-2 against Texas Wesleyan.
There you go.
Play again on Saturday. So come on out and watch those games. Should be good.
There you go. Gray Barn Mercantile. Get by and see Cheryl. She'll be open tomorrow and today, 10 o'clock.
Yep. She can order you some flowers.
Go by and see her. Atzenhofer since 1926. Chevy, Mazda, Mitsubishi. Go by and see Tommy Taylor.
That CX-90, the one you like so
Yes,
much,
it's
is it's been received so well that Mazda's just said, you know what, we're going to be done with the CX-9.
There you go.
So this one will replace the CX-9. It's a step above, a little bit bigger.
The
They refined
interiors
it.
of these are
Yeah,
nice.
and it's a really nice vehicle. So if you're looking for a mid-size, little bit bigger than mid-size SUV with 3-row seating, go check out the CX-90. Really
Buy
nice
it,
car.
take it over to AJ's Detailing, let him put a ceramic coat on it. He'll buff it first, true up the paint, and then protect your clear coat with a ceramic coating. It's all high tech now. It ain't turtle wax. Those days are over. No swirls, no nothing. Go by and see AJ's Detailing. And Armor Air, this weekend, if you're in a bind, call them. 579-0966. 579-0966. Tom Price says, go St. Joe. There you go. Steve Kidder says, just keep your expectations low. I'm assuming that's how you enjoy the show.
Oh, that's exactly it.
We're pretty good, folks. I tell you what, I've been getting some feedback. People that I respect that have said, Ash is good. Hey, you know, it hurts. People come up to me and go, man, that Ash, he cracks me up. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate that feedback.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
summer.
Doesn't share it with me all the time.
Yeah.
How come yesterday wasn't also a blue moon? It was still the
It
end
was
of
prettier than the night before.
It was still the end of August. Is it because we were a little bit the moon was a little bit further away in its orbit? Wasn't at its closest? Is that why?
Is
But
that
was
what
still,
it is? Closest time of the year?
Yeah, and it doesn't have and a full moon, second full moon of the actually whatever, of
Solstice?
the month. And so we just got in under the wire. And the moon's orbit was at its closest point to the Earth because the orbit is not
So what
exactly
makes it
round.
a blue moon? That's
second one in a month. Second full moon in a month makes it a blue moon, according to time.com.
has nothing to do with the color of the moon.
No, because the moon is never blue.
Knew it.
Yep. And
Neither
there's no
was-
cheese on there, which you might not know. If you want a good read this weekend when you're sitting there in between watching, you get bored of Georgia beating the crap out of Tennessee Martin
Right.
or UT kicking the crap out of Rice.
Rice.
Yeah. A&M struggling in their season opener against who's A&M playing?
New Mexico.
Yeah. You want something to take your mind off all of that? There's a great article in the Washington Times on Biden and his inflation. And let's not forget, inflation went up in July from June. Probably going to go up again here in August. But a really good piece in the Washington Times on inflation and the impact that Biden and the spending has had.
Let's do it. You ever have were there any inappropriate chants or anything at Washington State? I don't mean like things obviously there's things you can't say on the radio. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, were there things that you
Well,
look back and they're
we
like,
had
whoa,
some-
they would never say that now.
We had some enterprising students, though, that started like their own T-shirt companies, and they would print the unofficial shirts for homecoming, and UCLA, just UCLA. Well, they would put an F in front of that,
Right.
and that would be one. There was another saying, and when for the Apple Cup, because the UW Washington is the Huskies, and it would be they Cougs kick ass, dogs lick ass.
Right.
Just
Well,
that sort of thing. But
I was just thinking about, Rice, of course, the
Nothing.
stadium in Houston there has hosted a Super Bowl. It was a huge, huge stadium for,
still
1,200
is a
students.
huge
It is a
stadium.
huge stadium. But it was always, 80% UT fans at the game, and they would scream in unison, "What comes out of a Chinaman's ass? Rice, rice, rice."
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're chanting that.
You
these
can't
days.
do that anymore. I'm not even sure it was funny then to me. I was just like, that's weird. But a Chinaman. That's the
That's what they
crowd.
called them.
The crowd screaming that.
Well, that's your ultra liberal
Yeah.
UT.
There it is. It does lead into my, observation that the Asians are fair game. You can do what you want to the Asians. Nobody cares.
Proud Boys being sentenced. 2 of them. 17-year sentence for Joseph Biggs.
39-year-old man going to jail for 17 years.
Zachary Rell handed down a 15-year sentence. I think they faced up to 25 years for their role in the insurrection.
And they're saying that he used his military experience to organize and coordinate a group of people to enter the Capitol building. He organized people trespassing, and he's going to federal prison for 17 years.
Yeah.
Trespassing.
They were found guilty in May, and it took them this long to get to the sentencing.
This is your government overstepping its bounds. This is government abusing power. This is the right to a speedy trial, being held. It's just dumb. It's
Enrique
just dumb.
Tarrio, the group's former chief and reportedly police informant, due to be sentenced on Tuesday, so he turned on his colleagues. And don't get me wrong, but some of the things that these folks have, that they're now saying is I don't want to say insurrection, but some of the things that some of these folks have been accused of being, or what they did is now being taken as an action against the government, like banging on a door. Rattling a door handle that's locked. These are the sorts of things that they're starting to say is criminal action, insurrection-like activities.
If
So
the brown
keep that in
shirts
mind.
want you, they can find a reason to lock you up.
But there are no such charges against all the BLM rioters that tried to storm the Capitol, and if I'm not mistaken, the Senate, shut down Washington, threatened to go to the White House, were rattling and shaking the fence outside the White House, but they get away scot-free.
Sure. I think Peter McNally's making a funny on a Friday. Their band is weird.
Rice's band?
Oh, he was talking about Rice's band. So one of the great stories of all time, it's against the law now, you can't do it now. One of the great stories of all time, the Fighting Texas Aggie Band, whoop, who always wins halftime, and they are amazing to watch. I love watching the military precision and the tuba guy getting down and doing his thing.
The formations and the words they
They're
spell
awesome.
out nowadays
They're
is really
awesome.
good.
Dun, 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 dun. Here's the deal. They don't have to learn any new tunes. They haven't had a new song since John Philip Sousa died. You know, I mean, really, they don't. The music is the same all the time.
Peter McNally says they attacked the capital of our government. Wake up.
Oh, come on, Pete. You don't believe that. You don't believe that, Pete. And half of them were FBI plants. Years ago, when the guy walks for the Aggie Band, they coordinate their moves with a whistle, like a referee's whistle. It lets you know when to cut, precision cuts and all that. Well, the mob, the Rice Band, was standing on the sidelines, and 3 or 4 of their people had whistles and literally threw the Aggie Band into disarray. Chaos ensued. All it takes is that one tuba player.
I'm just picturing Animal House when they take over the
Yes.
parade and they lead the band.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Peter McNally, they attacked the capital of our government. It's a building. The church is the people, not the building. There were no weapons involved. There were,
Pepper spray, apparently.
there were people there, Pete, with helmets on, with horns on them. I'm going to tell you, if there's ever an insurrection and it involves people from Texas, you'll know it. You'll know it.
If I'm one to plan an insurrection, and I'm not, but if I were, I would not be calling up the people that supposedly were part of the insurrection on January 6th. They're not my go-to calls
Right.
to go and raid the Capitol or try to take over the government.
No, take over the government. The guys went in there and sat down on the Speaker of the House's seat.
And don't get me wrong, there were people that vandalized. They need to be charged with
No
such.
doubt.
But
Trespassers, get them, ring them up. Donald Trump did not incite an insurrection. Donald Trump did not incite an attack on democracy. Everything the guy's ever told you through the years, he was like, come on, it's the China flu. It did not begin in a bat market. He was right. It is. They go, well, how do you know it's Hunter's laptop? It's Hunter's laptop,
Yeah.
okay? I know. He was right. Donald Trump says, hey, I didn't tell these people to go do anything. They've looked at the timeline. Nobody wants to talk about this. The timeline of when these people were doing what they were doing versus what Donald Trump was saying.
they had already started.
They'd already started. Trump didn't send those people down there. And even if he did, let's go to the Capitol and let's protest. That's a long way from an attack on democracy.
You're allowed to peacefully protest.
Absolutely. The whole thing is a joke. I find it much more egregious that a group of people organized and stood out in front of Brett Kavanaugh's private residence. I find it more egregious that Maxine Waters, with her dumb self, you need to get up in their face. You see them in a restaurant, you go get after them. Those type of attacks are a lot more offensive to me than a group of people attacking the Capitol.
Peter
building.
McNally, they might have hurt Nancy. There was no chance of. Well, and here's the other thing: Nancy Pelosi had the ability to call in more troops and didn't.
Yeah, and that was talked about back then. Donald Trump said, you need to bring in more National Guard for this weekend. And Pelosi said, we're in charge. They were the dominant party.
Yep.
We'll take care of this. They didn't want it. They wanted what happened to happen.
No, that tells me right there that they knew something was going to happen.
They planned it.
They probably did.
And by the way, you know, you always see it, you see it all the time. the drunk guy in the wreck, he's never hurt. Nancy Pelosi wouldn't have been hurt. They could have banged her around. She'd have been fine. Now, give her husband a hammer.
Yeah.
No telling what's going to happen.
They weren't getting to him. They weren't getting to her.
No. Did Mitch McConnell resign yet?
No, but apparently his doctor said, well, he's still suffering from the effects of the concussion that he suffered when he fell a couple months back, and that's what's causing him these problems.
Weak bull.
It is. No, I
that
agree.
doctor ought to be, disbarred.
Then here's the other thing:
That's
if he's
dumb.
still suffering from the effects of his
Then he
concussion,
can't
he
lead.
shouldn't be He shouldn't be working.
Mitch McConnell needs to step down. He has no wisdom left to impart. Speaking of no wisdom left to impart,
Gil Brandt, former Cowboys executive and
passed.
builder of the Cowboys in the 70s, and
Hall of Famer,
died at the age of 91.
a great old life. He, Gil Brandt, Tom Landry, Tex Schramm built a dynasty.
Absolutely.
Folks, we love you. Hope you have a great weekend. We won't be here Monday. Enjoy your
Enjoy the long
weekend.
weekend. Get over to
Get
Chopping Block and get you some burgers and some ribeyes and cook them up.
Play the music, Sally. Love you guys. Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.